Let's break this bitch down. Act 1. Let's set some stuff up.
This masterpiece of cinema begins with the telltale sign of excellence in the form of 5 different movie studio introductions. Always a sign of absolute quality. I've found, like, the more studios at the beginning, the better the movie.
Did you notice that one of them says a chicken soup for the Soul production company?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, wow, that is a name I haven't heard in a while. A brand I didn't know was still a brand.
They're doing interesting work.
Did you see the update on the Saturn Films logo? Nick Cage's studio. Mm-hmm. It's looking real fancy now. It's all 3D and stuff. Mm-hmm. Pretty sweet.
The money's rolling in.
Yeah. They spent their pandemic time wisely. And did a redesign.
Next, we see a TV screen flicker on and hear the dulcet tones of a song that will surely be stuck in your head for weeks upon hearing it. It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun. Sung by the true stars of Willy's Wonderland, Willy Weasel, Cammy Chameleon, Artie Alligator, Tito Turtle, Siren Sarah, Nighty Night, Gus Gorilla, and Ozzy Ostrich. This is a real film. This is a movie that was actually made. It cost $5 million. Why a knight and a siren are hanging out with all these animals is possibly the greatest mystery of this entire film. I mean, they do that in these types of places, these fun zones where they mix different creatures together, but it's funny that there's 2 humans and then the rest are all animals. We cut from happy kids enjoying their birthday on the TV to a terrified couple running from an unseen menace while wearing Willy's Wonderland t-shirts. Making a load of money selling those t-shirts seems to be at least 75% of the point of this film.
Cha-ching, they got my money.
They run down a hallway straight out of Blade Runner 2049 before the husband is pulled down the hall by an invisible specter. His wife,
Blade Runner.
His wife does
the black hall. Sorry, black hallway with fluorescent lights.
Just
bolted to the wall.
It's like those ice lights in film production, and then they're just like
obviously
running along the
2
road.
corridors, and they just filmed it over and over and over again of them running around the same 2 corridors.
Cut.
It reminds me of the entrance to Casa Bonita, where you have to go through that big long line. It's probably the same idea, you know.
Yeah.
Got to funnel the people through that lit up hallway.
We had a similar experience there too.
We did. Attacked by the cave divers. They do have a gorilla. His wife does absolutely nothing to help him and instead runs in the opposite direction to the main room of Willy's, which is a dilapidated mess. She gets punched by an invisible fist and stumbles around for a few seconds before catching eyes with what we can presume is her daughter, hiding and crying in the closet. She smiles at the little girl for a second, then we cut back to the TV and hear a scream. Suddenly, blood splashes across it. Bum, bum, bum. We're in for a wild ride, kids, so buckle up. We cut to a Ford Mustang racing along a remote highway that is inexplicably bathed in a sickly shade of yellow to the soundtrack of a Super Nintendo game.
I want to say that it's not a Ford Mustang, it's a Chevy something.
I think it's a Camaro.
I thought it was a Chevy.
I think it's a Camaro.
I think I called it a Mustang throughout the whole thing, so just substitute that.
So apparently they clearly didn't get product placement for it.
Gone in 60 seconds.
It's like the director's car or something.
It's probably one of Nick's actual cars.
Yeah, could be.
He's like, look at my sick new Camaro.
Just wanted to show it off. Retro 80s looking titles once again introduce the laundry list of movie studios responsible for this groundbreaking expression of cinema before we see the main title, which looks like they copy and pasted it onto a black background 10 seconds after the graphic designer finished their first draft. It really looked like they put no thought into that whatsoever. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, good, okay, right. It's on a black background. Good enough. All right, moving on.
Let's move on. Move on.
Usually, like when a title comes up, it's like, it's not just
Yeah.
a still picture of the title just sitting there on the screen. Inside the Camaro, barreling down the quiet country roads at 100, we see dog tags hanging from the rearview mirror, revealing our mystery driver has some sort of military training. I wonder if that will come in handy. This guy's reckless driving is rudely interrupted when all 4 tires of the car suddenly blow out thanks to some spike strips on the road. The single greatest actor of his generation pops out of the car sporting cowboy boots, a leather racing jacket, and mirrored sunglasses, looking badass and ready to make some animatronic assholes pay.
He's in good shape in this film too.
Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, he's
pretty
almost
yoked.
60.
Does not look like a 60-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He spots the spike strips and chucks them in the trunk next to a case of Punch Pop, which is some sort of energy drink Nick guzzles at least 50 cans of in this movie. A couple of quick facts. Punch, the fictional energy drink Nicolas Cage's character drinks in this movie, has the text, "A fistful of caffeine for your kisser," on the can.
I wonder if I really felt like this punch drink they were planning on having some kind of sponsor.
Yeah.
Like Monster or Rockstar or something. And then obviously no one took them up on it because no one wanted to be part of this piece of shit and pay for it. But they just slapped a generic label over a bunch of cans of like Pepsi they bought or something.
Yeah. The shirts, the drinks, the themed pinball machine, like all of this stuff seems like it's stuff that they were trying to like make money off of. And like even the kids have like different shirts that you never see anywhere else, and I think they were trying to sell those too. He cracks one open and then, judging by the shadow on the ground beneath him, stands perfectly still in place for a good hour or two. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but like the shadow goes over. It's a cool effect, but when you think of it logically, he had to have stood in place for like 2 hours for that to happen. A truck driver disrespectfully interrupts Nick staring like the Terminator into a cow pasture to tow him and his Camaro into town. This country bumpkin rambles on incessantly, so Nick takes off his glasses, looks him up and down, and gives him a trademark, "I'm going to kill you if you don't shut up" look. I love that look so much. That's one of my cagiest moments of the film, because he does the same kind of look that he did in Grand Isle, where he like looks so good. By the way, Nick's character never says a single word throughout this entire film. He's completely mute throughout, aside from some groans of pain, a few screams, and the odd moan of satisfaction after drinking one of the many punch pops that he drinks. He also is never given a name, but in the credits they list him as the janitor, so we'll refer to him as the janitor from here on out. The tow truck driver continues to ramble on while keeping a pepperoni stick in his mouth that I'm not 100% sure was supposed to look like a cigar, or if they intentionally had this guy keep a piece of sausage in his mouth for every scene.
I think it was intentional because at some other point somebody else has a cigar.
Yeah, and he says like, "I thought you quit," and I think like he might have smoked cigars at a certain point, but then we see a flashback of him from the 90s or whatever, this guy, and he's chewing a sausage back then
pepperoni
too.
in his mouth. Yeah.
What a weird quirk. Anyways, he tows the janitor's car to the lovely town of Haynesville, Nevada, the home of Willy's Wonderland. That's right, Willy's Wonderland is so popular they put it on the sign for the town. Haynesville looks the way you'd expect a quiet Nevada town to look. Lush forests as far as the eye can see, cow pastures, bright green grass in every yard. Typical stuff. I don't know. I looked it up because I was like, they never mention it in the movie. But I looked it up and it is, it's listed as being Nevada. So where in Nevada is I mean, northern Nevada does kind of look like this in some spots, so I guess I get it. But it was actually filmed in Georgia. And it looks like Georgia. It looks like the South.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Nevada, aside from the sickly yellow shade that they put over everything. Which I think that's the reason they did it. It was like, this doesn't look like fucking Nevada at all. Okay, well, just make it yellow. That's the sign of the desert.
Yeah, yellow.
Yellow. And Mexico. Mexico and the desert are always yellow.
Yellow.
And every Michael Bay movie.
and crappy Coldplay song.
And Gone in 60 Seconds. It all ties together, you see. Yellow equals crap. We cut to a teenage girl dumping gas on the concrete in front of Willy's Wonderland. She whips open a Zippo and heads to light it, but is interrupted by a police siren. And instead of just dropping the Zippo and saving us from the rest of the film, she puts it away and is handcuffed by the sheriff. Played by the one and only Beth Grant, who I'm sure you all loved as the lady who falls under the bus in Speed. Carla Jean's mom in No Country for Old Men, Dwight Schrute's babysitter / lover on The Office, or one of her other incredibly impressive 233 IMDb credits.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You thought Nick Cage did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was watching this with my friend, and he was like, "Oh, it's that chick. She's the only other person I know from the cast." And I was like, "I don't know who this is." And he's like, "She's been in a ton of stuff.
She's been in a ton, yeah.
And then when I was reading the breakdown, I was like, "Oh, it's Dwight Schrute's girlfriend, child molester, babysitter, whatever."
I think that's where like most people recognize her from, because that one's, I think The Office is kind of the main thing in the zeitgeist. But like, she's been in a million different roles, and like when I was watching it with my brother, he recognized her from something else, and then my wife recognized her from something else, and neither one of those I had seen. So it's like she's active. She's getting up there too. I don't know how old she is, but she's been around for a minute. As it turns out, the sheriff is this teenager's surrogate mother, so she does what any good mom would do. She takes her home to their trailer, gives her a bucket to piss in, and handcuffs her to a pipe. But not before the pepperoni-chewing country doofus and the janitor roll up next to them. The teenager and the janitor lock eyes for an uncomfortably long time and share a look that I'm still not sure the significance of. It's creepy. There's a creepy thing going here, and I'm not sure if they're going for like a romantic thing, or they're going for like a father-daughter type of thing, or just a kindred spirit type of thing, but it creeps me the fuck out. Because like, I know they're trying to make Nick Cage look young in this, but like, we know that he's almost 60 years old, and this teenage girl is like 19. So it just comes off as uncomfortable. I mean, good on Nick Cage, but...
He's always looking for wife number 6 or whatever.
That he is.
How dare you? How dare you, Nigel?
The country dude takes the janitor to a junkyard and then fiddles around with the engine for some reason, even though he clearly only needs his tires repaired. The janitor spots a bulletin board filled with missing persons flyers, and the sausage eater tells him he owes $250 for the tow, needs all 4 tires replaced, and there's something wrong with the car's chip, he thinks. He can fix it for about $1,000, but wouldn't you know it, he only takes cash, and every single ATM in the entire town is broken. He explains that the town was gonna get internet, but they just didn't, and has a good chuckle.
Because everybody knows ATMs require internet.
Yes.
That's how they worked. ATMs did not exist until 1995.
Yes, yeah. When AOL came on the scene, that's when ATMs started working. What do you think the A stands for? AOL.
They just built all these
AOL.
ATMs, and they were like, "Shit, we don't know."
Fuck.
Well,
What
I guess
do
we
we
can't
do?
use these.
Yeah.
Someday there'll be something to connect them.
There's a million of these little, like, logic puzzles throughout this whole thing. Like there's no phones until suddenly a kid pulls out a cell phone and it works
Yeah.
perfectly, and there's no internet, but yeah.
So
But
I
there's cell
thought,
phone internet.
I thought that they were being, well, maybe a little more clever than I thought I was giving them credit for. But I thought they were like, obviously setting this guy up and he was going along with it because he wanted to be set up, because he wanted to show up, at this place. Which I still don't know if that's what they were going with or not.
Maybe if we think about it in terms of like, maybe there's a backstory where he knew the kid's parents, that would make a lot more sense. That would explain the creepy look. That would explain a lot of things. Because then maybe it's like, oh, I recognize him because he was a friend of my dad's when I was a kid. Something like that. That makes a hell of a lot more sense.
That's
but
what
they
I thought
never explain that in this movie.
Right. Yeah. It's never paid off. So you just were left to assume either that or bad script writing.
Maybe he's coming here specifically to avenge their deaths. That actually makes this movie better if you think of it like that.
That's
if they would have peppered something like that
the whole time. Yeah,
really.
He's on a mission to come to this town. Get roped into this just so he can kill these animatronics, because he seems to know exactly what they are and know exactly what to do. So,
he's not surprised in the slightest when they come alive.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Well, I guess that actually makes the movie make more sense and is better. If they just would have put that in just somewhere towards the end, that would have made so much more sense. Would have made the movie make so much more sense. And instead they just stare at each other creepily.
Yeah.
And then
and then this guy gets roped into this, even though he seems to know they're pulling one over on him, but he just goes along with it anyway.
Yeah, he just goes along with it.
Okay. So either our hero's an idiot or he's intentionally going along with these idiot bumpkins. So that's why I chose to believe it was intentionally.
Yeah. I like that theory, actually. The janitor continues to give him a, if it was legal, I'd gut your dumbass look. And we'll just call this guy Sausage from here on out.
He's Sausage. The guy from Deadfall. The sausage from the pool hall.
From the pool hall?
Yeah, with Charlie Sheen. Sets up the pool table.
His name is Sausage.
Billiard hall.
Yeah,
the billiards hall.
Yeah, billiards. Yeah. He just, he put on about 100 pounds and moved out into rural Nevada. Nevada, Georgia.
I love thinking of that as a prequel to this movie.
Deadfall.
Sausage asks if he's willing to work it off. Just a friendly PSA. Normally when a fat country yokel chewing on a beef stick tells you owe $1,000 and asks if you're willing to work it off in his dimly lit garage miles from civilization, that's the time to run the fuck out of there before you get raped and murdered. Nick Cage agrees by shaking his head like a cyborg.
Okay then.
And grabs the only essentials from his broken down Mustang, which turns out to be a burlap bag filled with Punch Pop. Gotta grab the bare necessities out of that car.
Oh yeah.
My other theory is that he actually is an animatronic, which I came up with as a joke to explain his really robotic acting. But then they literally start leaning more and more into him acting like a robot as the movie goes along, and it starts to make things make more sense. Well, I don't know about make more sense, but
I kind of thought that
makes
too.
An interesting twist on the movie that they never reveal.
He acts like the frickin' Terminator for half of this movie, and has almost zero emotion throughout.
Yeah, and there are
aside
parts
from when he gets really into the pinball game.
There's parts when he literally makes robot noises while moving. You can hear servos whirring and stuff as he walks out of a room. So it's okay, I guess they're setting that up, but then they never do anything with it. They just put it there, and then I'm sure they either abandoned it or left it as an Easter egg. I don't know.
Sausage calls up a guy named Tex McAdoo, who looks like a TV spokesperson for a used car lot. They meet up outside, you guessed it, Willy's Wonderland, where Tex explains that business isn't what it used to be, in front of a building which is covered in fun graffiti that says stuff like "Kid Killers, Gateway to Hell," and "Bulldoze this building." He says he's fixing to reopen Willy's and make it better than ever, but he needs someone to clean up the place. He says if the janitor spends the night cleaning Willy's Wonderland, he'll pay to have his car fixed. He says when he comes out in the morning, his Camaro will be waiting for him and everything will be square. Let's quickly do some math here. The janitor's car repairs cost $1,000 if sausage is to be trusted. Assuming for maximum possible time, it's winter and the sun goes down early. The longest possible night in Nevada would be 15 hours long. So to pay off $1,000 over 15 hours of cleaning, the janitor would earn $67 an hour.
Just damn.
Not bad for a night's work. And he earns every fucking cent of that $67 an hour. The janitor turns his head slowly again like the Terminator, takes down his sunglasses, and then locks eyes with the cartoon mascot of Willy Weasel on the marquee before shaking hands with Tex, thus sealing his fate. They head inside where Tex plays a video on the TV we saw in the opening scene, which plays a commercial for Willy's, which features everyone's favorite tune, "It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun." That thing is just over and over and over throughout this thing.
I love it.
Aside from this song definitely was the most catchy, but the 6 little chickens at the end of the line, and then the Willy's Wonderland theme song while he's playing pinball, stuck in my head for weeks after. Despite how it looks in the commercial, Willy's is a real dump these days, with cobwebs on the furniture strewn throughout the place, dirt everywhere, and graffiti on the walls. Thankfully, no one has messed with the place's trademark mascots, who are in perfect, albeit filthy, condition. You know, if you were going to come in and vandalize everything, you think you would fuck up those animatronics, first thing, take a bat to head or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they're in pretty good condition. I guess they can defend themselves from any attacks. Mm-hmm. So. Tex tells him that little bastard kids started crawling over the characters and got hurt a few got hurt, and after a few lawsuits, they were forced to shut down. Let's follow the logic on that one. Okay, so the animatronics that are supposedly only on the stage, kids crawled over those and fell and hurt themselves, and then they got lawsuits. Even though, kids were, literally beheaded by these fucking things. Yeah. There's a lot of little logic things in this whole film.
Yeah. Plus, they're we got shut down, but, all the stuff he's picking up looks like they just closed the night before. there's, cups and stuff on the table and, dirty plates and things that he's cleaning up throughout the course of this.
Which,
Plus, they keep bringing people in the guise of cleaning. You'd think over the years they would have cleaned more of it progressively, unless they're going back in and messing it up every night so that the next person who comes through has more to do.
Oh, shit, they got really far. Okay, put some cups out. The janitor eyes the mascot suspiciously, and as he heads to walk away, Willy moves. Dun dun dun. Tex shows him the cleaning supplies and gives him one of those dope-ass Willy's Wonderland t-shirts, available for the low price of $29.99 plus shipping and handling on a site so sketchy 2 different browsers I tried wouldn't even let me see it because of potential security risks.
Or just go to Amazon like I did.
Amazon, Redbubble. It's available
Jeff
everywhere.
Bezos.
Any place where quality t-shirts are sold, you can get Willy's Wonderland's t-shirt. Tex tells him he'll have his car dapper and ready to drive, or his name isn't Tex McAdoo. He tells him to help himself to whatever is in the kitchen of this abandoned building covered in filth, and to make sure he takes breaks to pace himself, which the janitor takes very seriously. Chew of false.
Hey, he doesn't want OSHA coming in there and, fucking up a good thing.
I get it. It's important. He heads out, but not before locking the janitor inside, and then attempting to light a cigar outside with a Zippo that doesn't work, which he tosses towards a nearby dumpster. He says he can't stand to hear a grown man scream, so he and Sausage leave him to his work.
Yeah, there's a point there, when Zippos don't light, you just need to refill them. You don't just throw them in the garbage. Yeah. They're not like a Bic.
It also just magically lights later in the film. Spoilers.
Yeah. It was a lazy plot device.
Yeah.
Check off Zippo.
Check off Zippo.
Back at the trailer park, a truck full of teenagers pour out to see why their friend is handcuffed to a radiator. But, more importantly, you know what a bunch of teenagers in a horror movie means. That's right, the victims have arrived. Thank God someone's finally going to get murdered by these animatronics. I was really starting to get antsy here. We're already like
they're in the movie.
10 minutes into this movie. Yeah. We got to murder some people.
It's just they're only in the movie to up the body count. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. Only reason they're there. Also, and to have some real hardcore horror story stereotypes too. Yeah. I think they did that on purpose. By the way, I have theories about each one of those characters. Like, there's always the over-the-top black guy. There's always the whore. There's there's Jordan Peele is in the movie. Young Jordan Peele.
I saw that too.
There's the jock-y guy, and then there's the friend-zoned guy who's trying to get in the
loser,
heroines.
The jock guy is like literally a greaser. Like they gave him the same haircut. And I was like, what? They pulled this guy out of the 50s?
He's just really into Riverdale, dude.
He looks exactly like a young version of... do you guys ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brandanowitz? He looks like a young Brandanowitz. Like spot on. Same dude, just younger.
So they had young Brandanowitz and young Jordan Peele. As nerd and greaser.
Two quality characters. Our film's heroine, named Liv, calls out for help, and this group of absolute idiots comes to her rescue. First, one doofus tries to knock down the unlocked paper-thin door. Then our favorite character, who sports many different faces but always acts the same, good old black guy McStereotype, says the bitch sheriff is wicked for leaving her with a bucket to piss in. Then our film's whore, which no horror movie is complete without one, picks police-issued handcuffs with a plastic hairpin. Liv tells the group they need to head to Willy's because she saw sausage with he and Tex's next victim in his truck earlier, and he's probably already locked inside. Black guy McStereotype rambles on for a second, and Liv gets pissed. She seems like a real uptight bitch to this group of shitheads as she explains they're doing this as a mission and not a field trip for their entertainment. I feel like this whole group was just unnecessary and over the top. Just, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Also, why are they friends? Like, they all seem to hate each other.
Yeah. None of them seem to like each other at all.
Yeah. I think they're like the only teenagers left in the town. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. They head on their mission. Liv's squad features the aforementioned all-stars, Black Guy McStereotype, the whore, but also some other horror film regulars, the guy trying desperately to get into the main girl's pants, the quasi-jock who thinks he's better than everyone else, and nerdy stoner black guy, young Jordan Peele. To balance out, he has to balance out the over-the-top black guy. There has to be a yin to that yang, you know? If we're being honest, the most unrealistic thing about this entire movie is that there's multiple black people living in this podunk town in the middle of bumfuck Nevada. It's a bunch of shit kickers. I mean, the whole town is just, you know, cowboys and stuff. You know, when we see the janitor drive in, it's like nothing but cow pastures and farms and shit.
Trailers.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to stereotype. The movie did that for me. But generally, you don't see a whole lot of black people hang out in towns like this for very long. Back at Willy's, the janitor dons his killer new shirt and sets an alarm on his watch to make sure he takes his breaks on time. He gets to work cleaning, and I have to say, he is incredible at it. I really want this dude to clean my house because not only is he thorough, he's insanely efficient with the time that he's been given. I mean, you know, if it jives that it's 15 hours, like, he cleans this, I mean, spoilers, he cleans the shit out of this place. I mean, it's spotless by the end.
Multiple times, too.
Which also lends itself to him being a robot.
Right. Yep.
Or OCD and autistic.
Yeah, that too, which we'll get to. While he cleans, we see the animatronics behind him start to shift and move again. He heads to the kitchen, which is absolutely destroyed, leading me again to question what kind of food Tex could possibly be referring to. But by some miracle, the only functioning appliance in this entire building happens to be the ice-cold refrigerator, where the janitor quickly stashes his bag full of Punch Pops. His alarm goes off, and in accordance to the state of Nevada, the janitor rightly takes his state-mandated 15-minute break. He takes a grand total of 6 breaks throughout this movie, which if we go by, breaks every 2 hours, that rule, that means that he was in Willy's for at least 12 hours, not counting a lunch. He could have taken, which I figure when he's like, using sandpaper on his nails later on.
Yeah, doing his nails for some reason.
I believe that was his lunch.
I believe they were like, "Hey, Vic, do something," and he's like,
he's like, "Hold on,
how about this?"
Yeah, I bet they let him just vamp a lot for this movie. One of the things my friend said was like, do you think the director just bragged about how he paid Nick Cage to just come clean toilets for a couple of these scenes? Like he's
some of these.
I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Cage actually cleaned that whole bathroom just because he wanted to do it, be in character.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of time lapses where he's cleaning for probably a good hour or so. I mean, that bathroom. Well, we'll get to it. He downs a Punch Pop and spots a suspicious item in the corner of the kitchen covered in a sheet that turns out to be a dusty Willy's Wonderland themed pinball machine that the janitor seems to have a really confusing boner about. He strokes it lovingly and seductively pushes all of its buttons, but is rudely interrupted by his watch alerting him to get back to work. But he's coming back to this pinball machine. Mark my words. He mops a disgustingly filthy floor that could really derail his efficiency, because I don't even think the Toxic Avenger could have finished cleaning that thing in one night. I mean, it's just disgusting. Filthy dirty. I mean, like greasy dirty. Really nasty. After a few eerie moments of cleaning the floor and seeing an animatronic moving in the background, the janitor finds himself face to face with an independently walking Ozzy the Ostrich standing about a foot from him that he didn't seem to notice creeping up on him whatsoever, despite his Terminator-style reflexes. He didn't see that coming at all, even though it was like a fucking foot from him. Rather than scream in terror and run the fuck away, he barely reacts to this abomination that is completely unsurprised by a 7-foot-tall animatronic possessed by Satan standing in front of him. He gives the ostrich a couple of playful taps with the broom, and the creature springs to life, exclaiming, "I'm gonna feast on your face!" and then attacks him. He again is completely unfazed by all of this and defends himself against this vision of absolute terror attacking him. Ozzy slices him across the cheek, which is the last straw, so the janitor glares at him for a second, smiles, and then beats the ever-loving shit out of him with the broom, revealing the entire point of making this movie, to watch Nicolas Cage beat the fuck out of animatronics. Something I think we can all get behind.
Hell yeah.
Literally the only point, I think, of this, aside from to sell some t-shirts. But he leaves Ozzy in an oily puddle on the floor and rips out the animatronic's spine for good measure. Unfortunately, in all this excitement, he dirtied his shirt. So he grabs a fresh one and uses duct tape as a band-aid for his cut on his face, which is kind of his signature look. He's got that Nelly look for the rest of the movie.
It's getting hot in here.
Next, instead of attempting to leave this house of horrors screaming into the night, he just goes back to work like nothing happened. I guess.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, if he wants to kill these things, why doesn't he just go kill them? Why does he keep going back to work and waiting for them to attack him?
I don't know. Maybe part of his revenge plot, if we go by the logic that he is friends with the characters that died in the opening scene, part of his revenge plot is to also make sure Willy's is spotless and clean and super nice.
Yeah, or maybe he's waiting for them to attack him first, which is why he waits for the ostrich to drop first blood on him, and then he fights back. Finally, I don't know.
You know, maybe
some weird moral code about it.
Maybe there is something to that, because like when Liv goes to attack the Sarah Siren, he doesn't let her do it because apparently, maybe, I'm just thinking out loud right now, maybe it has to come to life before you can actually kill one of these things.
Well, maybe.
That's maybe why he doesn't
thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Tell us about.
Maybe that's why he doesn't kill, because he doesn't kill any of them until they come to life. Like, he could have just gone up on stage and killed Willy Weasel immediately, but that wouldn't have actually done anything if we track with that logic, which we're making up on the spot.
Right. Why not? The movie just makes stuff up on the spot, so we can do it too.
We're building worlds here.
Yeah. We're making a better movie.
We're sandboxing it.
Over at the sheriff's office, she and the comic relief of the film, in the form of a dummy cop who sits across from her desk, right across from her desk, making annoying clicking sounds with his mouth. Just got to get all those tropes in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
He asks why he's receiving double overtime for sitting behind her desk staring at her instead of being anywhere else in the station. I mean, he's like
he's not even one away from her.
Yeah.
He mentions he's from a different jurisdiction. They just called him in for some
so they can
weird
explain
curfew.
that every single person in this entire town is in on this murder plot.
So why do they need to bring in somebody from another town that could potentially blow the lid off of the whole thing?
Exactly.
Why not just have a new sheriff, being part trained as from the town or something?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have two sheriff's uniforms. They had one generic cop uniform and they had one sheriff's uniform. Like, well, fuck, they can't both be on the same force. Got it.
We got a blue one. We got a brown one. I got it. Think on your feet. He asks why she requested backup to patrol a place the size of a postage stamp, which is exactly our point.
They say what we're all thinking if you're bothering to think about stuff while watching this movie.
If you're using your brain at all,
Which I don't think was the point, and I don't think it's the target audience.
I don't think so either. I think they were just, they just wanted to make a joke, and that was this whole movie. I feel like this whole movie was intentionally a joke.
It's kind of the same thing with Mandy. Not that, but it's a joke. He actually cared and wanted to make a movie. But because it's only $5 million, I bet it was pretty easy to secure funding from some studio and just say, give us $5 million, we'll make a movie with Nicolas Cage. And they were like, okay, whatever. Sign a check. It's $5 million, who cares?
Wish somebody would give me $5 million. I could make something amazing for $5 million.
Yeah, well, your dad has to make Tombstone first, and then they'll give you $5 million to make a movie.
She replies by saying they're going to just sit there and pray the red phone on her desk doesn't ring all night. Which I'm guessing is, she's hoping that Commissioner Gordon doesn't call and warn her about the Joker doing something crazy based on that red phone. Anyways, your tax dollars are at work, sitting at that frickin' desk. Back at Willy's, the janitor bags up Ozzy and leaves him by the locked front door, which he does try to leave at one point, but he doesn't try very hard. He just tries to take that bag out to the dumpster. That was really his only intention there, not to leave Willy's, but to throw that thing in the garbage. His watch beeps, so he heads back on break. And you guessed it, chug a punch pop, which he does on every single break. And clean the pinball machine intimately. Again, kind of pseudo-romantic music plays, and he seductively shines all of the little slots and buttons.
It reminded me of Gone in 60 Seconds, the way he sort of caresses Eleanor, and he's got some kind of weird sexual thing going on with the car. So this one, it's a pinball machine. Yeah,
this is his love for the rest of the movie. To be clear, he just spent his break from cleaning. So, guy is he's really devoted to his work. Of course, I mean he could have cleaned the pinball machine on his shift, Yeah. It is part of the place that he works.
It's a labor of love, not a labor of labor.
Exactly.
He heads to the men's room, which is covered with graffiti and every kind of filth you could imagine, but miraculously isn't covered in human shit. which definitely would have happened. He cleans this place like a frickin' machine. I mean, spotless. But just as he's about to finish the last mirror, he hears the animatronics on stage start to sing everyone's favorite song, "It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun." Try getting that shit out of your head after this.
I couldn't sleep last night. It was in my head.
Just nonstop nightmares all night long. Not of the animatronics, of that song. Rather than being freaked out that a bunch of horrifying animatronics started up all by themselves in the middle of the night, he simply glares at them a sec and switches off the breaker. So they turn off and he gets back to work. I'm really starting to believe that the whole point of this movie, or the whole like trajectory of this movie, is that he's avenging the deaths of those first two people. And he has to kill all these damn animatronics.
But then if he shuts the breaker off and they just turn off, like, does that just shut them off? How do they come to life then?
He shuts off that breaker and then they come back to life like 40 times after that and sing songs and shit.
The breaker
off? they can't be energized by actual electricity. They have to be energized by the demons so that he can kill them. Otherwise he can't, I guess. The logic that we just made up ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Take a note.
Unfortunately, back in his spotless bathroom, some asshole has written "It's your birthday" on a freshly cleaned mirror. No respect whatsoever. I mean, come on. He just painstakingly cleaned the hell out of the bathroom. He quickly cleans it again and hears a voice that says, "Let's play hide and seek." And all the stall doors slam shut. He nonchalantly kicks open the doors before revealing Gus the gorilla, who kicks him in the chest after swinging from the ceiling, which contains 0 places to swing from. I don't know where the hell he swung from, but if you look, it's just, there's no place. I mean, he could have been like holding on to the top of the thing, but we would have seen him on top of the stall. Anyways. This is easily the goofiest looking fight in the entire film.
Yeah.
Like the first person shots of the arms on Nick Cage, like from the chest. It was.
Yeah, it's like, when you can't really film a fight scene, you just film it really close with really quick cuts back and forth, so it looks like a lot of stuff's happening when you're just kind of shoving each other.
Yeah.
That's what this fight scene was like.
Gus gets the drop on him, and things aren't looking great for our hero until he finds a plunger, which I guess is Gus's kryptonite, because after he puts the sucker on Gus's face, he's able to hold him at bay as he throws this hundreds of pound gorilla animatronic against the walls, enough until he tuckers him out, and then he just curb stomps his head into a urinal, which is pretty great. Worst part about this scene is that they managed to destroy this perfectly clean bathroom, which is a real shame. I mean, he worked really hard. He worked really hard in a time lapse, and it was amazing. Like I said, they must have just had Nick Cage cleaning that bathroom for like an hour or two. Yeah. Which is, you're paying this guy probably most of the budget to be in your film, and you spend the whole time cleaning. The janitor scrubs up, grabs a clean shirt, because that's important. We got to keep that product placement through the whole thing. And uses more duct tape around his stomach. I'm guessing that Gus broke a few ribs with that swinging kick, but it never comes up again, so I guess...
Yeah, I was like, did I miss something? Did he get slashed along the torso or something? Or maybe he already had the duct tape there, and because he's a fucking animatronic, and it was coming loose, and so he needed to repair it.
Maybe Nick gained a little weight, and he wanted to just have a girdle on the whole movie, and wanted to explain why he's wearing a girdle.
He forgot his Spanx in his car.
See, the duct tape thing was like another nod to me that maybe he's an animatronic, because he repairs himself with duct tape instead of a Band-Aid. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't really tell if it was blood or if it was just like black sludge, because the color grading was so weird. Because when he beats up the other animatronics, they have like oil and shit that comes out instead of blood. I couldn't tell. It almost looked like that was the same thing on his cheek.
I thought I saw red in it, but maybe I didn't.
I don't know. I'm also colorblind, so it's hard for me to see red when it's desaturated. But it allows me to keep the illusion alive that he's a humanoid animatronic.
These are perfect things to bring up with our follow-up show, Back into the Cage. So if any fans have any ideas or can shed some light.
There are a bunch of fan theories about this movie, just like Five Nights at Freddy's had a bunch of fan theories. So we could delve into those to see if
we've already come up with a couple ourselves. So I'm sure there are a million out there. Right into onecagepodcast@gmail.com. He cleans up Gus's mechanical corpse and stuffs him in another garbage bag before locking eyes with Willy on stage. They stare at each other until his watch beeps. Break time. He heads back to his two favorite activities, drinking punch pop and cleaning the pinball machine. This time, however, he takes a moment for some self-care and uses sandpaper on his nails.
Because he's a machine.
You'd sand the machine. He spends a few seconds playing pinball and almost utters an understandable word for the first and last time in the film. It's like kind of a, God. He almost says God at one point. But that's it.
Act 2. Let's get some motivation up in this thing.
Outside Willy's, at long last, our sacrifices have arrived. The idiots on their mission all grab gas cans, including one that doesn't have a cap on it. From the back of the truck.
Notice that there was one can.
Yeah.
It was like, obviously, there's nothing in that can.
Yeah, Shell's like, hey, that one doesn't have a cap on it. I was like, don't look at that stuff.
Don't think
Ignore
about it.
They pour gas all around the building before the jockey kid pulls out a Zippo. Dude, how does everybody in this town own the same freaking lighter?
Yeah.
And when was the last time you guys personally saw a Zippo in real life? Because I don't think I've seen one since I was like 18.
15 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
I think like commemorative ones when I was in Europe, when I was in high school, like the souvenir shop. Like that's the only, like the legit time I've seen a Zippo.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute since I've seen one in real life. Yeah. My theory is they had one Zippo and they just reused it for every scene.
Just reuse it.
Director of photography Zippo or something. So they just used it.
I think like one person would have a Bic or something, you know.
Yeah. No, it's all Zippos in this town.
They all vape now, so nobody had lighters.
Touche.
Borrowing lighters from their parents. That's the only thing that would make sense.
Liv stops them from burning the place down when she realizes the janitor is still inside. She knocks on the window and tells him he's not safe. And, you know, he just heads back to cleaning. He's got a job to do.
Yeah, this part, like, they leave to go save the janitor. Mm-hmm. And before they even check to see if he's there, they start dousing the place with gasoline like they're going to light it on fire.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, wait, no, he's still in there.
Yeah. Like, maybe they assumed he was already dead or something, and they were just going to burn the building down.
Yeah, maybe. Again, that works with the whole idea that he's there on a mission. He's killing every single one of these things, no matter what.
At this point in the film, it's worth theorizing that, given the fact that he's a mute, doesn't really react the slightest to the animatronics coming to life, trying to kill him, and isn't interested in the slightest at leaving the building, even after almost dying twice already, that maybe this guy is just a few punch pops short of a six-pack?
I mean, you know, he's either kind of mentally challenged or he's on a mission. I kind of wish I would have thought of that when I was writing the breakdown, because that makes a lot more sense.
Like I had it right from the get-go, the way he acted when he broke down, where he just sort of stands there. Like, he's here for something. He's, he's waiting. He's
waiting for the tow truck guy.
He wants to be reeled into this thing so that he can get stuck in there with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does kind of seem to hit all the beats that the town leadership is set to trap people. Like he doesn't panic about the spike strip. He doesn't panic about not being able to pay for the car right out of the gate.
Like, one of my questions was, he doesn't, like, how could he call a tow truck? Because he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. So he obviously bursts his tires and then knows the tow truck is going to show up. So he just gets out and stands there and waits.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a good point, too.
So,
that all makes sense.
Our film's voice of reason, black guy mixed stereotype, chimes in and says they should burn the building down with him in it because his ass, not ours. And if you want to be cremated, that's his business.
How many times does this guy say ass in the movie?
I think he says that at least
8 or 9
once.
times.
Yeah, once every time he talks. Liv decides to climb in through a spotless air duct, which, despite every other part of this place looking like it hasn't been cleaned since the Reagan administration,
it's just spotless throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, they just built it and didn't even bother trying to make it look dirty or weathered.
It's completely spotless. But she heads in instead of listening to her friends and just murdering this poor dude.
My theory is the janitor already got to the ducts. He started there.
Oh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
He cleans from the top down, dude.
Yeah,
inside out. If he clean, otherwise the HVAC's going to kick on and just blow all that dirt back into the...
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's really thorough.
He's thorough.
He's a machine.
Wouldn't you know it, though? Artie the alligator is in the air duct with her. These air ducts are like super strong because they could easily support hundreds of pounds without batting an eye. Just so that we're clear here, guys.
Air ducts, you can always climb through these things. That's a good Hollywood trope.
They're always
that stands
perfectly
up,
human and animatronic sized.
Yeah. No nails or anything through them. Full size, human size. Support hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
And well lit.
And always well lit.
Yeah.
You know what? She really could have used a Zippo at this point, to be honest, dude. She could have Zippoed it up and he said, come to Willie's.
Yeah, they could have done it. They could have done it in an alien, an alien homage,
Alien, Die Hard, all the classic air duct tropes.
Give her a crowbar so it's like Half-Life. Looking out for head crabs.
She easily escapes Artie, who is drooling somehow, despite being a machine. And she ends up in a funky room filled with lights where Siren Sarah hangs out when she's not belting out the birthday song on stage. Siren Sarah is super creepy looking, but also kind of hot in an odd way. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but she has some nice looking legs.
Yeah. It's because it's literally just a human with a mask on.
Yeah, with like a really over the top.
It's like they ran. It's like they ran out of. They were like, shit, we only built the head of this one, so go find some tights. And
find some tights. Same thing with Nighty Night. It's just a guy with a big head on.
At least he has a full body suit type of thing, but
like
it's
fake
a lot
hands
more
and stuff.
Noticeable when it's like
Yosemite Sam
Tinkerbell costume with a mask on.
That's what she looks like. But it kind of works out because her character is surprisingly agile for an animatronic that's been collecting dust for 30 years. She ends up crawling up the walls like something from the movie Alien while singing Ring Around the Rosie before grabbing Liv, who screams, which alerts our hero, the janitor.
She crawls up the wall backwards at one point.
Yeah.
They really kind of adds to the creep factor.
Yeah, they really try to. I think it would have worked better if it hadn't just been a really quick cut and then they cut away from it. It just you could barely see what was happening because I think it probably looked too stupid. So they just
it probably looked pretty bad
and cut away.
They definitely tried to use the fact that she was a person with a helmet on to amp up the creepiness of her character.
I feel like a lot of this movie was hampered by this will be really cool, and then they filmed it this looks really dumb, and then they had to edit it in a way to make like when he's fighting the gorilla, it probably just looked like a guy punching a guy in a gorilla suit and really stupid. So they had
quick POV, do a POV shot.
Right.
Outside the dipshits, she's friends with Chuckle about how much THC is in a joint for a minute before hearing Liv scream. So they decide to climb up on the roof. Back inside, Liv falls on the janitor from the ceiling when he comes to investigate, and again I'm wondering, are they really trying to set something romantic up between this nearly 60-year-old man and this teenager?
Also, why was Liv in the ceiling? Did she climb back up into the air vent?
I don't...
Yeah, that part made no sense to me. That part made no sense to me.
And how did she get the drop
wrapped in one of the trees?
Siren Sarah? There's oil on the floor that the janitor finds. Yeah. But she shows herself later on to be a terrible fighter with these things.
Yeah, she's awful. On the roof, the people who will obviously be killed momentarily argue about how Liv drugged them into this situation in front of some obviously fake stars in the background.
Yeah. It's like they were filming on the green screen room from the set from The Room.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah. To be fair, it looks more real than The Room, but not by much.
It's nighttime. Yeah.
Hold on, take again.
Tear me apart, Liv.
You're tearing me apart. The black guy stereotype tells devoted friend zone stereotype that kissing that ass ain't gonna get you that ass.
So far.
They get into a fight and fall through the roof conveniently into a ball pit.
Just love that they fall through the entire roof of this building and probably through the air ducts and all this shit.
Everything. Right into a
from
ball
a 2-story building. Fall down completely unharmed.
Neither Liv nor the janitor seem excited to see all these jerk-offs. The animatronics on stage start singing again, and Liv runs full speed at Siren Sarah like she's about to prison shank her, but for some inexplicable reason, the janitor stops her and looks around at the entire crew, which have fucked up his cleaning job with a glaze in his eye like he's high on pain meds. That was like one of the most random looks he given in this entire movie. I wasn't really sure what to take from it. Like, is he annoyed that they're there because now he has to deal with them?
I think he's worried they're going to mess up his plans to kill these things.
Yeah.
Or is he pissed because they just collapsed an entire roof on the floor that he just spent 2 hours cleaning?
Probably, yeah. It also
but he doesn't
does
seem to give a
jive
shit
with
about
the
kids.
he does.
So I think he's just pissed off that someone's there messing up his good time.
Yeah. It does jive though, like when she goes to try and stab Siren Sarah, if they have to come alive before they can actually be killed, to actually get the demon out of their bodies, they have to come to life on their own. That jives with that theory. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Movie's making more sense the more we talk about it.
Yeah. The more color we add to it, the more interesting this movie is becoming.
Yep.
When you put some thought into things.
It seems to happen a lot, actually, with this show. Is like we take the movies that aren't so great and we add things that make them make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, maybe that was the intention the entire time, but they just never explained that throughout the movie.
But again, sometimes movies actually need to tell you things.
Yeah.
To make these things more apparent.
Sometimes they do actually need to hold your hand when it comes to relevancy.
Especially given the exposition dump we're about to get.
Yeah,
exactly. It's weird that they would leave that out.
Yeah, because we're about to get into like the whole backstory of Willy's Wonderland.
Could have peppered this in at any point, like a little bit of backstory about the janitor or how these things actually come to life and how you can actually kill them. All that stuff would have made a lot of sense instead of the exposition flashback that is repeated later on pretty much by the sheriff.
Yeah. By the sheriff, Just in case you guys forgot, we're going to tell you the story about Willy's Wonderland again. But through the sheriff's eyes. Yeah. The jockey dude notices that 2 animatronics are missing, then spots the garbage bags with the corpses inside and says, "Oh, that's badass." It just gets dumber from here, folks, so buckle up. The crew follow the janitor into the kitchen, aside from our old pals, over-the-top black guy and the whore, who think this place their friend has been trying to get them to burn down because of the demons inside is pretty cool. So they head to the super happy fun time room to knock some boots. As you do. And also to make sure you get the teenage sex scene in a horror film.
It's teenage fully clothed sex scene.
Yeah. There is one shot, like when she's going up the ladder where it almost looks like there's some nudity there for a second.
Right. But then they're like, wait, we're kind of being ambiguous about the age of these kids, so let's make stereotypical black guy jump in front and say, "Hey, yo, don't be looking at my girl's ass." God damn. Shit. God damn, that's for my eyes only and her OnlyFans. $9 a month. Liv drops some exposition on the janitor in a horribly performed monologue saying that the story he's been told is a lie. And they've done the same to countless others over the years. Countless others. So think about this. If a hiker goes missing in the woods, they send hundreds of people out to go find him. Or 20. But countless people go missing in the exact same expanse of Nevada for 20 years, and there's no investigation whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
It's a small town. Nothing ever happens in small town. I guess that's all the script writers were thinking.
Yeah.
Every small town has its mysteries that go unsolved.
Yeah, entire families just go missing, and drug addicts, and all sorts of
and they all
weird
go to this one
homeless
place.
people.
Yeah.
They all end up
go
in
to
the
this
same
one
spot.
restaurant.
Yeah, they all end up in the same place.
And go missing.
I mean, that sheriff, she's got a cold case cabinet she just can't seem to ever crack.
I mean, we know from the missing posters that those are at least somehow officially reported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the guy somehow, for some reason, has hanging in his auto shop where he brings his
trophies,
potential victims.
Don't try and think of this movie
a lot of
logically.
credit. Yeah. Yeah. Sausage ain't the smartest boy in the town, but he's a hard worker. I'm Tex Dugadoo. We see a flashback.
Tex Bugaboo.
Tex Bugaboo. We see a flashback that explains the guy who started Willy's was a serial killer, who conveniently only hired other serial killers because, they all are on Facebook or some shit in a group. I don't know. So they could all kill families together every time they went to the happy fun time room. Uh-oh, that's not good for the two lovers, which I'm sure they'd get away with for years. Not to punch holes in the logic of this, but yeah, never mind. Like I said, just strap in. This, you just gotta gloss over it. Just
remember, everyone who wants to work with children is a child molesting killer.
Yes, this is true. I mean, didn't you see Mr. Rogers?
Elmo.
Elmo,
Maybe it's
though.
not a bad thing. Yeah, maybe it's not a bad thing he died in that fire.
That actually happened.
Yeah, Kevin Clash.
Allegedly. She says after numerous missing persons reports and suspicious smells coming from Willy's, the law decided to investigate in brand new SUVs from the 2010s. But this happened in the 90s, folks. Once again, don't fucking think about it too
They
much.
just send a SWAT team in to investigate the place.
In a brand new 2010 Cadillac, yeah.
In the middle of the night, SWAT night raid to investigate some murders.
Do you think that came up when they were like filming it? They were like, "Hey, these are all brand new SUVs that we rented."
I think that came from a different movie.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like that's something shot
It's stock
something
footage.
else, and they
I
just
bet you it
used
was some stock footage, yeah.
It's from the new Transformers movie,
Yeah,
Whoa.
based on the lens flares.
Transformers.
yeah.
The lens flares. Turns out Jerry and his gang.
Remember that from The Happening? Oh my god.
Yeah. The trees are killing us?
No, ma'am.
What? No. That Marky Mark, he's a hell of an actor.
It's the best line read ever.
It turns out Jerry and his gang killed themselves in a satanic ritual that allowed their spirits to inhabit the animatronics. Luckily, before the cops could catch them. That old horror chestnut. Let's just
Never seen that before.
Nope. Let's join the cult.
That's why I feel like this
Chucky?
whole movie was a joke. Like,
Yeah.
every one of the kids is a horror stereotype. Every plot point of the whole movie is a horror stereotype. Like, even the stupid monologue is over the top, exactly like a stupid horror stereotype. So, I think they knew exactly what they were doing throughout this thing.
It's like a poorly executed Cabin in the Woods.
Right.
Because that movie was obviously like
Even
very
if that's the case, they don't execute it very well. Like you can do satire very well.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie is it.
Cabin in the Woods is like the perfect satire of it's like the Shaun of the Dead for these types of horror movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It nailed every single stereotype and trope perfectly. Back to our wonderful exposition. So 10 years later, Tex McAdoo reopened Willy's, and of course, the animatronics started killing people right away. So Tex, being responsible, gathered the entire population of Haynesville and made a deal with the possessed animatronic weasel that he'd bring them sacrifices if they didn't kill any more people in town. Because, he's just looking out for the townspeople.
It's just kill him.
No, you can't, dude. He's possessed. Have you not seen Chucky?
We could have gone to war with them and lost some good people along the way. But instead we just murdered hikers and homeless people and
in families.
Just to be clear, the entire population of this entire town is in on this, and they've all agreed to sacrifice people to these animatronic robots who are possessed by the devil.
Yeah. It's an homage to Wicker Man.
I had to take a pause there because he gets the entire town to agree to do this.
Yeah,
and everybody's
at least
okay.
like 600 people. At least.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least.
You don't even incorporate until
kids.
there's like a few hundred people there.
But we do have the rebel kids.
No, the teenagers know it too, it seems like.
Yeah.
But they're trying to put a stop to it.
But they're trying to put a
least.
stop to it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they know about it rather than go to some authorities somewhere, anywhere.
they just fail to burn it down.
Commit arson.
Well, because arson
And
is cool.
vandalize it.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do. The sheriff is in on it, so
What are you gonna
there's
do?
no other
She is the law.
authority in the
No
entire
other
world
towns
that
exist.
Now we cut back to Black Guy and the Slut, a new series on the C-Dub this fall, boys. Reciting expertly crafted dialogue about it not being the whore's birthday, but mixed stereotype wants to see her in her birthday suit. Nice. Yeah. This guy's smooth, dude.
he is.
Now we cut back to Willy and the band belting out a song about 6 little chickens at the end of the line, which ends with the jock dude getting stabbed in the back by Nighty Night, which really reminded me of Yosemite Sam. This seems like an easily avoidable death because the night moves like the Gorn captain from Star Trek, slow as hell and easy to run from.
He's just got a giant foam sword. That's not even metal.
Well, apparently it's hard because it killed that dude.
By the way, that song was super catchy. I mean, Willy's Wonderland's band is actually pretty good.
Yeah, if it weren't for the murder, they would really. I mean, that would be the next Chuck E. Cheese. You could franchise that shit.
My wife.
Move over, Showbiz Pizza Place.
After she watched the movie, she had no idea that this was even a thing. Like, she had never been to a Chuck E. Cheese in her life or anything like that.
No way.
So she didn't know that this was a thing. And then we found all these different. There's tons of these fun fun zones, family fun centers with like animatronic
Family
robots.
Centers,
They're all over the place and
Rainforest Cafe.
creepy as fuck. Some of them are just like really, really creepy. If you want to fall down a rabbit hole, just go and look at some of these fun zones. Like it's fun on YouTube. There's some great stuff.
I saw a
out there.
video on YouTube where there's like one guy who still maintains these things and still makes them.
Really?
And restores the old ones or whatever. And he was one of the original guys who made them for like Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza Place and stuff.
That's funny.
And he just got this like warehouse that's like they're all dilapidated and rotting away, but he's like trying to keep them, functional. And it's
That's
weird.
a sequel.
I'll send
That's
it
a
to you
sequel
guys.
right there.
Oh my god, yeah.
They have to go to that warehouse.
He goes to the factory or whatever,
Yeah.
with whatever ones are left, and stops
you
them
go.
from becoming alive and possessed.
So in Westworld, they have that scene where they go in and there's like a whole bunch of the costume
retired.
characters that are retired. Maybe it could be like that. Like he has to kill like 100 of these things.
Yeah.
Also,
my
is the
God,
guy
or
who
he could-
restores those things, is he a serial killer? Because I think that's the only people who work on these things.
I mean, he has to be. Meanwhile, it's break time. So, the janitor is enjoying a frosty punch pop while making the pinball machine his bitch. Dude, he's really starting to get into the game now, like really into it. It's just shots of him just hitting it and all excited, digging it. I'm pretty sure he humped the machine at one point.
Yeah. He's the pinball wizard, man.
He was killing it too, dude.
I mean, at one point, he literally rolls it over. He literally rolls over the machine because he breaks the highest possible score you could get.
Now we could.
Dumb and kid sure plays a mean pinball.
Hey, maybe that's what they were going there. Is deaf, dumb, and blind. He is
but he's
mute.
not blind or deaf. Maybe he's deaf. I don't think he is. But
Well, and they say deaf, dumb, and blind. The dumb is mute.
right. So that's why I said the dumb.
Maybe
and
this is an
kid
homage
sure
to Pinball Wizard. Or what's a Tommy? Tommy's the name of the thing, yeah.
Now we cut over to the over-the-top black guy and the slut having sex in the happy fun time room, while Artie the alligator jacks it in the corner.
We gotta point out that they're still fully clothed, except the chick took her shirt off.
Yeah, she's
still
in
wearing
her
her
bra,
which
she's
you can
wearing
already
a
see
skirt
under her shirt anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like
she's
they're
wearing a
always wearing
skirt
their
for
clothes.
easy access. His pants are completely pulled up. He's just pulling it
Still
through the
has his
zipper.
shirt on.
Shirt on, sneakers on. It was a really uncomfortable scene.
They couldn't even do the horror movie trope of like just pointless
Gratuitous
nudity.
nudity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gratuitous nudity.
I feel like they're going for that PG-13 rating that they didn't get because it's
Yeah.
unrated.
Which
Oh,
I mean,
shit,
they
yeah.
probably could have done it because I guess they showed blood everywhere, but like, it just stuck to like black blood from the animatronics, and they probably could have stayed with PG-13.
I get the feeling that they
Tone
were
down
going
the
for
swearing.
the TV, TV audience being able to have this on like TNT or
Yeah.
Sci-Fi
Mhm.
Channel or
Cut it.
whatever.
Yeah, without having to cut around that.
I don't think the cursing is like, R-rated cursing. It's mostly asses and
Yeah,
They say
it's all
fuck a
pretty.
couple of times, but
Do they
they
say
could
fuck?
just but they could just cut it out if they were
Yeah.
going for a TV edit.
Yeah, they could fluff around that. The whole Artie the alligator jacking in the corner gave me real strong Grand Isle vibes. I'm like, dude, he really enjoys these cuck style
some
movies.
cucking going on.
Crocodile.
Artie the crocodile.
Trademark
Coming to
one cage
CW
at a
this
time. Let's get a crocodile shirt going.
Standing on the wall watching two people have sex.
I'm designing that shit. It's
Yeah,
happening.
you should.
Oh my god, you should. That'd be fucking hilarious. Merch coming soon, folks.
Visit onecageatatime.com for all of your crocodile merch.
I mean, you really could. You could just design that, stick it on like Redbubble, right?
$29.99 for a limited time
I will buy
with
it.
free shipping and
Yeah,
handling.
let's do
So
it.
our site is too sketchy for you to use.
Yeah.
What kind of level of irony are we on when we're making knockoff merch of a movie, making knockoff merch of a video
Chuck E.
game
Cheese.
property?
Oh yeah,
We've transcended. This is
Inception.
a whole new level. Inception. All right, now we cut over to nerdy stoner black guy as he heads to a room that is only lit by a strobe light for some reason, and is instantly killed by Sarah the Siren and Tito Turtle after they play a game of hide and go seek.
That's the thing. He's not instantly killed though. He's like,
he's, like,
they show him
tossed
getting
around
like
and-
ambushed, and
True,
then it
true,
cuts
true.
away, and then it comes back, and he's still alive, just kind of sitting there, and they're still like
Yeah.
wandering
Oh,
around.
that's
It's like
right, true.
they cut the scene and then stretched it out for some reason to make it seem scarier, but it just seemed funnier.
Yeah, that was such a weird one. Yeah, because they kept kind of cutting it, or like because I thought he died right away.
Yeah,
me
I
too.
did.
And then
You're-
they come
you're
back
right.
and he's still alive.
But then then they're tossing him around, playing like hide and go seek through the strobe light. Which hopefully you're not epileptic, because if you are, just skip that scene. I mean,
Yeah.
it was that was painful. It was like we're running out of money. We gotta kill young Jordan
We
Peele.
gotta cut
How are we
frames
gonna
out
do it?
even. We can't even have full frames. We gotta,
Yeah, just cut.
I was also wondering, like, what room is this? Because we never see this room again. The janitor
Yeah, I don't
never
know.
cleans it. It's
No.
just we never see it
It's
again.
just
it's the
one
strobe light room.
Yeah, it's
the-
just
where
that
they play laser
one-
tag. I don't know.
It could be, yeah.
Maybe it's like Black Bart's cave at Casa Bonita.
Ooh,
the,
spooky.
It's the fondle in the dark room.
We see Friend Zone head over to the arcade. Always best to just scatter in different directions during a crisis. That's what I found.
Another horror
Well, we're-
stereotype.
Yep. Where he hides and gets the bright idea to call the sheriff. So you're telling me this whole time they could have just called somebody? This is like this is This kid had a phone the whole time. They watched their friend get stabbed in the back, and now he decides to whip the phone out after he's separated from everybody else.
Yeah. At a certain point, based on the sheriff's phone, I thought that maybe this was like a timepiece and this was like before cell phones or something. Like maybe this was just a few years after the events of, like the beginning. But then, the car, Nick Cage's car is obviously modern. The Cadillacs that arrived in the 90s are obviously modern. But then they pull out a frickin' cell phone after. Why does the sheriff have the fucking Batman and Robin phone on her desk if this is
maybe it's the direct line from
the
911 or from when you call the sheriff's office, it goes there.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, anytime there's a call about Willy's Wonderland, they go straight to that phone.
It goes straight to the red phone.
Don't they know that the sheriff is in on it?
Yeah.
So why would they call the sheriff?
Because they're banking on her wanting to come save Liv, or he is.
Oh,
yeah, maybe.
That's right.
That's true.
Because she tells him to fuck off. Basically,
he does say like, "We went inside, we made a mistake," and so that leads me to believe that they're all in on it too. Maybe the kids were going to kill the janitor at some point.
Maybe, yeah. They did want to torch the place before Liv stopped them. So
yeah, that's true. See, we're adding more depth to this movie by the second.
Yeah. Well, the sheriff hangs up on it, and a comic relief guy asks if he should answer the phone when Nerdy Kid calls back. She rightly says, "You're not funny." Because he's not. And that people made their beds, so they have to lie in them. But then she decides to head to Willy's when she finds out Liv is there. Even though Liv made her bed, she's going to go untuck her.
I think the line is to protect and serve. Sheriff. That guy is just pointless, aside from
he has
adding stupid jokes.
Yeah. Other than
to be other than exposition dump.
Yeah, I was gonna say, other than to have her re-explain the fucking story again. Back at Willy's, the janitor's watch goes off, so he can finally join the action. Listen, when I think you guys could agree because we all worked retail together. When we're on break, if a customer comes to talk to us, we have to start our break over. It's the fucking law, okay? So I can't blame him for not interrupting his break to save some dumbass teenagers he doesn't even know. I wouldn't do it. Black Friday, I covered my fucking ears and looked at the ground and just bolted to the break room.
Run to the break room.
I didn't realize he was taking breaks as I watched this. I thought he was
didn't
just
either
like
the first
on
time,
some
and
schedule.
Then I realized
that's why he was just like, and I was like, why is he just letting them get killed? Like he's just sitting here playing pinball while they're getting murdered. Like, but it makes more sense that he's doing breaks because the guy told him to take breaks.
Told him you gotta take your breaks.
The first time I watched it, I thought that the energy drinks were going to come into play somehow. Like,
me too. Like he needs to drink them.
He has to drink them every couple of hours, or else, maybe he's diabetic or something. But no, just taking a break. Loves the taste of Punch Pop.
Just Punch Pop.
He never sleeps, so he just needs to keep the caffeine rush going.
Yeah. Hey, just taking breaks. That's it.
If he stops, he'll pass out and die. So
he's like a shark. He's got to keep moving.
Yeah.
He starts back to work by slamming 99's head into the wall about 100 times. Well, Liv stands there and does nothing. Nothing.
Terrible looking look on her face.
Just horrified, shocked, or just unable to act. You decide.
She's got those giant anime eyes throughout this whole movie.
There's two different shots where she's just standing there doing nothing and staring. So finally, they just had her do a bunch of takes of just like looking shocked, and then they picked the two that were like, I don't know, half decent. That interjected them.
She's really taken after her mom in that way because her mom just ran the opposite direction after staring at her husband being pulled down the hall.
Yep. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. She just stands there doing nothing right before Nick chops off his head with his own sword, spraying animatronic blood all over his face, continuing a trend that we're starting to notice of Nick Cage having creature blood shot directly into his mouth, which I don't think can be good for him.
I think it happened in Color Out of Space. With the alpacas, he gets blood like shot right on his face and into his mouth to the point where it's like dripping out. Then it happens in Mandy when he slices that dude's throat. It like spills on his face, and he's like screaming in his face at the same time. And then it happens here. So that's 3 horror movies with blood spilling into his mouth.
Yeah, it's a weird trend that he seems to be collecting in his later films.
Well, when we watch Mom and Dad, maybe it happens in that movie too. I don't know. Every freaking horror movie.
Just every horror film, he just has some kind of fucking bodily fluid sprayed in his mouth. He and Liv share another creepily awkward long stare, which I really don't understand the point of what that look was trying to communicate, other than just making me feel really uncomfortable.
Maybe it's like he's trying to say, like, this is how it's done. Like, this is how you do it, I guess. I
like, you just don't stand around like a bitch like your mom.
Right. Like,
this is how your mom died.
Came and saved your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're lucky my break ended.
Like I said, I mean, it makes more sense if you think about it as like he's kind of almost like an uncle figure, you know, saving her after her parents were killed.
Yeah.
Again, we're adding more to this film than what they actually added in the story, but you know, maybe it was obvious or something, and they felt like they didn't need to add that, but like I didn't feel like it was obvious. I watched this movie 3 times, and I didn't get that until you guys mentioned it. So,
yeah. It's one of those things where like you got to kind of imply it yourself. I'm trying to, like you're digging in, trying to create a backstory that they don't give you about this character.
Like your brain just like desperately trying to piece together the nonsense.
Exactly. Back in the happy fun time room, Artie the crocodile is really getting into watching these 2 people bang. So he's kind of, he's kind enough to let them go at it for a while. But once he gets himself off, there's really no point in letting this charade continue. So he chews out McStereotype's throat, then gnaws on his hand for a bit. A scene straight out of Happy Gilmore. You know, that guy's got a wooden hand now.
Just like in Moonstruck, did you see it? Like, I lost my hand!
I lost my hand!
Maybe that was an homage. Yeah.
Oh, shit, I hope so. That just made this whole thing 10 times better. The janitor and Liv are taking out the janitor and Liv are taking out the nighty-night trash bag when they hear the skank scream. So Nick Cage kicks down the door like a badass to save the day. Oh wait, she's already dead on the floor, despite screaming 3 seconds ago. He pulls some wrestling moves on the gator, which were pretty sick, if I gotta say so myself. Yeah. Well, Liv again stands there and does absolutely nothing with a wide-eyed, stupid look on her face.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the point of, like, how is she not dead already? Because she's fucking useless. And why, like, what's the point of her even following him around?
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to set her up to be a badass, but she's not, and she sucks at everything. She's terrible at acting. And
she is a really bad actress. I'm sorry, whatever her name is, if you're watching this,
Tosta.
You need to go back to the drawing board on some things.
Yeah.
And that's coming from us. We can barely read a script. So take it with a grain of salt. The janitor makes quick work of Artie by pulling his jaw apart until it breaks and pulling his circuit board / brain out through his mouth. We'll just pass by that. Liv apologizes.
Piece of machinery.
Liv apologizes to the dead bodies of her friends who would have not been there if not for her. Worst part about all this is that the janitor once again has to change his shirt out for a fresh one.
What's weird is like the mouth was rubber the whole time, but yet it has sparks fly out of it, and like
they had to like really work around not bending it too much so you could tell that it, to make it at least look like it was rigid that he was trying to pull open, but it
doesn't actually have a jaw of any kind. It's just rubber.
Just foam rubber.
It's just rubber. You see his hands indenting into the rubber, and he's trying desperately not to, sink it in a little too much. Over in the arcade, Cammy the chameleon sweet talks the dipshit hiding by saying that she's not like the rest, and he can trust her. Which, of course, he does. And like all women, she kills him immediately. After lying to him, she
sticks her tongue out and snaps his neck.
Yeah. It was like, that character, like all these characters are throwaway, right? All these kids are throwaways. But like, they just I feel like they got to the point where like, well, we got to keep killing these kids. How are we going to do it in like the dumbest, quickest way? Well, we have Crocodile kill these two, even though she's fucking screaming 3 seconds before they kick the door open. And then this retard walks off by himself and gets fucking killed.
I think all 5 of them die within about 6 or 7 minutes. Every one of them is dead.
Boom, 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 boom.
Which I think they could have spaced it out a little bit more.
Get into the third act.
Yeah. It's just so dumb. Anyways, I'm overthinking it again. Now we have the two cops make their way to Willy's, and Dwight Schrute's lover tells the comic relief some more exposition, where she explains they tried to knock down Willy's, but the animatronics killed the contractor. Then some people at an ice cream shop, then some at a hardware store, and even the school. So they could either go to war with the machines, which had been killed in less than 30 seconds apiece by a mute drifter, or make a deal to feed them innocent people.
He kills one with a broomstick.
Yeah.
And he kills a bunch of others
Kills
with bare
all
hands.
of them in seconds apiece.
Yeah.
I don't think a single one of them took more than a minute to kill, even Willy.
He doesn't even have a gun
end.
like all the cops do.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think Willy's the only one that takes him quite some time, which we talked about, right? Like, he's the only one that gives him real trouble.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah, you got to have a climactic fight.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to call it. You need some kind of tension.
Yeah.
Now we see the same setup as the beginning of the movie, where a family has their tires popped out, and they agree to clean Willy's in exchange for the repairs. But this time things go hinky, because the family leaves behind a child who just so happens to be Liv. Bet you guys didn't see that coming, right?
Who would have
This
thought?
obviously not white girl is not the biological daughter of the super white redneck sheriff.
Yeah.
But that was the other thing too, like even the girl they picked was like obviously like a black actress, and then like the actress playing Liv is like way lighter skinned than the girl that was playing her as a child.
Well, yeah, because the actress that's playing her is Hispanic, which is there's a Hispanic dad.
She turned
and
from
white
like
mom.
a black girl to a Hispanic girl.
I mean, maybe her dad was like Dominican or something, so I don't know. We're thinking too much about this. Why? We're giving it too much thought. Back at Willy's, Liv and the janitor fight the chameleon. Come, chameleon. For a second, until, you guessed it, break time. I love that he just stops.
Yeah. He just hands her the knife and fucks off.
Yeah. He hands Liv her knife back that he took from her when she was trying to kill Sarah the siren, then heads back to have some punch pop and tear into that pinball machine, which he does, dude. She's not quite the animatronic slayer the janitor is, so she tussles with this thing the whole time he's on break, which is like 15 minutes, and he has to come in and finish the job. He lassos Cammy Chameleon around the neck and bounces her off a couple of arcade games for a few seconds, and that seems to do the trick, that at least for the time being.
Like this is the same Cammy Chameleon that killed the guy in like a second. His neck.
Yeah,
she fights with Liv for like at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, until he can come back and lasso. The two of them drag Cammy down the hall, and for some reason, the janitor has to awkwardly lean forward to spot Tito and Sarah standing about 5 feet from them. He socks both of them in the face and continues toward the trash, where he easily kicks open the door no one else has been able to open all night, and is greeted by the sheriff holding a shotgun.
I love that he just socks them in the face and just keeps going.
And then keeps going.
Just keeps going.
Yeah, that look was great. He's just like...
That's one of my cagiest moments of the film. Cagiest moments is a little difficult in this episode because it's literally silent.
Visual.
He's literally silent the entire time. All visuals.
I love just this
Have we got to the
stereotypical
part where he
Mexican
does
turtle.
the kung fu pose? Was that when he's fighting Chameleon, or is that later? I don't know if it's in the breakdown.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I think it's when he comes in to fight Cammy Chameleon.
But then,
He's like when he's next to Liv, and then he goes on break.
Yeah, that's right. He gets into the pose, and then his watch beeps, and he's like, hands her the knife and fucking books it.
That was a good moment.
Act 3. Time to resolve some shit.
The sheriff apologizes to an animatronic weasel about this prick who has killed off half the creatures that have been a menace to their town for 20 years. She's pretty upset when she finds out all the animatronics are dead, but doesn't seem super concerned that there are 5 dead kids as well. She convinces the hesitant comic relief to cuff the janitor, and we audibly hear metal clasping, but 2 minutes from now he'll break out from them, and they're clearly zip ties.
Yeah.
I was very confused about that because, like, after I watched the movie, I thought about it later on. I was like, how did he get out of those cuffs? And then when I rewatched it, I was like, it's zip ties. But I heard him, handcuffs go on there. I don't know if you ever see the handcuffs, but I heard handcuffs.
You know, they could have, because he was with Liv when that happened, right? Or did she was already gone by then?
So
they could have done something with her picking the lock on the handcuffs with a hair clip, you know, and that would have been a callback to when the whore did it for her. But I guess that's too clever.
Yeah, she had already left at that point with the comic relief.
It just seemed like a missed opportunity.
And then the sheriff locked the door with him inside alone.
Mm-hmm. Comic relief drags Liv out, but before leaving, she delivers the line, "He's not trapped here with them, they're trapped in here with him," before he takes her to a patrol car, and somewhere Alan Moore collects a royalty check for $50. I said that to my friend as it happened. Like, Alan Moore just got paid, and got a little bit crazier. The sheriff tells comic relief to take her to a cell while she waits for Willy to kill the janitor. Inside, the janitor stands up when he sees Cammy Chameleon and Sarah Siren walking towards him. He kicks the jukebox, and Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes pops on. Some country rendition of it.
Which I found really, really catchy. It was great.
Catchy, and as you can probably guess, he kicks the shit out of both of them in seconds flat. Shakes his head like a nutcase while being obscured by lens flares, and knocks them both on the ground with his knees.
Tummies, arms and chins.
He just does like it was just like a head-butted one, and then he uses a malfunctioning animatronic. I swear to God, that's what they were going for. Because it starts to really become apparent from he does like weird robotic movements too and stuff.
To be fair, though, he does that in Grand Isle too. He does the exact same.
Oh. But there are other parts when he's like looking around. It's like, anyway. But anyway, when he walks off to go to break, you can hear gears and like stuff. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to be Candy Chameleon, but it's synced to when he turns around and walks away from her. So
I think it was supposed to be Cammy Chameleon. And you also hear it with Willy Weasel when he comes to attack him. You can hear the animatronics moving for a second. Largely, they left that out, though.
In the patrol car, Liv convinces the comic relief that he'll be a murderer if he lets the janitor die. So he decides to spring into action, but wouldn't you know it, Tito the Turtle is somehow inexplicably on top of the car and kills him. I can't remember, wasn't there a wider shot of the car at the beginning of the thing? And he's not on the car.
He's not on the car. So I guess he just drug behind the car and then climbed up on top, even though he weighs hundreds of pounds. And it takes Liv, spoilers, it takes Liv the rest of the night to walk back to Willy's from where those patrol cars stopped. So are they just really fast? Like, does Tito the Turtle break the stereotype of the tortoise and the hare and just runs after the car full speed?
And then it takes him the rest of the night to get back to them.
Yeah, he never fully gets back. Yeah,
he never gets back. I mean, he is the Mexican character, so he's a little speedy.
Speedy Gonzalez.
I thought you were going a different direction, and I. All right.
Look, we're already on the verge of getting canceled.
Liv grabs a shotgun and goes to shoot the turtle, but this creature whose fingers are the size of my arm somehow snuck into the patrol car while no one was looking and stealthily unloaded the shotgun. This is after he drags comic relief out.
And rips his throat out or
somehow,
something.
Pushes him to death. Like he just on the side of the road.
Pushes him to death.
We cut to Willy where the janitor and Sarah Siren are playing a reverse game of Sit on My Face. He seems to crack her robot neck and then breaks out of the zip tie cuffs that sound exactly like metal cuffs when you close them. He then breaks Candy Chameleon's head off and stares down Willy again. Just waiting for him to come alive.
Yep.
so he can get his. Back with Liv, she beats the turtle with the end of the shotgun until he begs for mercy, all in Spanish.
No mas, no mas.
And then she hops on the patrol car to run him down. No, wait, she just walks all the way back to Willy's, and we don't see her again until the very end of the film. It's also, she's like walking, and there's like a giant lens flare, like it's like lit by another car with its headlights on or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of lens flare in all of the killings of the creatures for some reason. Like the film starts to shake
how dumb
and
it looks.
Yeah, maybe.
I think probably just mask how low budget it looks, and they're obviously just like strangling a rubber suit or something. The janitor cleans up the latest pile of animatronic bodies and grabs yet another shirt from the pile. What's he up to, 5 now?
Something like that. It's almost like one per creature, but then at this point, I think he kills Artie, Cammy, or no, I think he has killed Artie, Sarah Siren, and the Chameleon.
Yeah, Cammy.
So it's 3 for this shirt. But before it was 1 per shirt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have to up the stakes, like Batman Returns. Got to be more villains.
Yeah. He gets back to cleaning again. This dude's a machine. And he makes Willy's Wonderland look brand new and even finds a nice spot to stack the dead kids. Body bags and everything. When he's finished, he makes his way to Willy, who is now completely alone on the stage. He stares him down with a come get some glare before his watch beeps, and once again he heads back to go on break. You have to respect a man with his priorities in the right place. This leads to the best scene of the entire movie, which is equally weird, hilarious, and awesome. The moment we've all been waiting for, Nicolas Cage guzzling energy drinks while dancing and playing pinball to synth pop music, which is all I've ever wanted despite the flaws of this obvious joke of a movie, which in the scene makes it more than worth a watch. So nothing else, just look this scene up.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the movie, maybe you don't necessarily have to watch the whole thing, but you have to watch this scene. This is amazing.
Because it also doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the movie, so you can just watch it by itself and be like, okay. How do we even describe it? He dances to an 80s-esque song about Willy's Wonderland while flailing his hands in front of his face and making the pinball game his bitch. He's like having sex with it while doing it.
Yeah.
Somehow it's absolutely spellbinding, even though it makes no sense both literally and in the context of the film. It's the first time we've seen him do anything remotely close to this. On it. He's really stoic other than playing the pinball game earlier and seeming to enjoy it. But it's the first time he gets into dancing a musical number. When the janitor beats the game, he raises his fist high in the air like Luke on the cover of Star Wars A New Hope and gets back to work. Quick fact, Nicolas Cage improvised this entire pinball flash dance.
Yeah.
No.
Apparently so. I
just
kind of got that
Nick.
feeling. They were like, just dance, do something.
Just dance.
I don't know if did they even have him dancing? Like, was it even in the script that he was supposed to dance, or he just decided to do that?
I don't know
do something.
Where the fuck this scene came from. What circumstances had to come together for this scene to happen, but I'm so glad that it did. Because this is just batshit insane, but awesome at the same time.
The song is like a ripoff of She's a Maniac. So it's almost like it is like they're doing a flash dance homage type of thing.
Willy's Wonderland.
But it even has the same like do 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 type of beat to it.
My favorite part of that was the claps. Just
And then at the end.
yeah, and then the fist in the air.
It's like
I feel like
it's
recreate
that dance from Spider-Man 3, but make it good.
That's pretty spot on. It was great. I loved it. I don't know what the point of it was, but I'm all for it. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin Lewis, for making that happen.
He loves pinball and he loves killing these animatronics. And he's kicking ass at both of them, so he's just on a high.
I sort of had the impression that maybe him beating the pinball machine was somehow like related to him beating the animatronics. Like he's almost completed his mission. At this point, he's only got 1 to go. So
well, the song that plays on the pinball machine is "Pop Goes the Weasel," too. So
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
The subtitles even call it out. Like Pop Goes the Weasel plays when they reach playing. It's like an 8-bit version of it. So it's all connected. Outside, the sheriff is woken up by the janitor coming outside to dump the latest batch of animatronics. He gives her a weird little wave, and he stumbles back inside again, leading us to assume this guy might have some mental issues.
I had a question about this. Did she relock the door? How did he come outside? Because, like, is she just banking on the fact that he won't leave? But he's just going to walk right out?
She's just still sitting there.
Yeah, I think she was convinced that because they handcuffed him, he would die. And she was just going to wait till daybreak to make sure he's dead. So there was no need to relock the doors.
Right, because you can never open doors if you're handcuffed.
Right. It's physically impossible.
Yeah. But anyway, in any case, she pulls a shotgun on him because she's bewildered that he's still alive. Then she leads him inside at gunpoint and says that Willy needs to eat, and then she's going to feed him. Willy must have taken this literally, I guess, because he appears out of thin air behind her and slices her in two with his weasel claws. Again, ruining the janitor's shirt. I want to point out that he slashes her in half. Her bottom half legs stand perfectly straight up, and then blood spurts up out of her legs, even though her heart has been disconnected and is now laying on the other side of the room. Somehow blood spurts up and out of her legs.
That's how blood works, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's pumps in your feet.
Doctor.
So it wouldn't just pull down to the bottom of her feet. It now somehow spurted back up and out.
And it would all
2
fall
seconds after
at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just stay up.
Standing, and then it doesn't even fall. It just stays standing and spurts
Straight
blood,
up,
and then it cuts away.
Almost like they were metal or something. Maybe she's an animatronic.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
They all are. It's animatronics all the way down.
See, that's very Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That death was very similar to a lot of the deaths in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Just comically stupid on purpose.
Willy attacks the janitor first with some air punches, then actual punches.
So at the beginning,
and then kept that in.
At the beginning, they kind of have ghostly powers because like dude gets drugged down the hallway by an apparition of some sort. Mm-hmm. But then that never comes into play until this scene when Nick Cage is punched in the face a couple times. But then he just goes to physically actually attacking him after that.
Yeah. I didn't even notice it because the way it was cut, I thought he was actually slashing him. I didn't even notice that it was like not connecting.
Definitely some air punches in there. Maybe they were like, we're going to put this in post. We're going to put Willy back in.
Intentionally because to show, make fun of bad choreography in movies, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Might be giving it too much credit. Yeah. He throws the janitor against a wall, triggering a super annoying version of the birthday song that plays for way too long over images of confetti flying and Nick Cage being sliced up by a giant robot weasel. Finally, the janitor is thrown into the ball pit that the kids fell into from the roof earlier. I guess Willy was content with having finished the job because he spends about 5 seconds looking to see if the janitor's dead before heading off to do ghost weasel stuff. The janitor, of course, crawls out of the pit unscathed, even though he just got slashed to fuck by this guy.
Yeah.
He heads to the kitchen and loads up his burlap sack with the remaining surplus of punch pop. He tapes the 2 halves of the broom, which he used to kill Ozzy Ostrich, and heads out to tear Willy a new asshole. I don't know why that's his improvised weapon. Out of all the things
I'm not really sure about that one either. I thought about calling it out, but I was like, I guess gives him double the broom power.
I don't know. He beats Willy to death with the cans, and he pulls his robot head off with his body spraying oil all over the backdrop of the stage while confetti continues to fall. And great, more shit that he has to clean up. Just make a complete mess of the room. To be fair, though, I don't think he'd cleaned that room yet. But I don't remember.
He did. He stacked the chairs and all that stuff.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so...
Things were looking good. It's like that stare down between him and Willy Weasel.
That's right.
Where you see all everything like clean and nice.
Clean everything up. Apparently, it doesn't even matter. He cleans it up anyway.
Yeah.
Next, we see Sausage arrive with the janitor's car. He peels out in the parking lot and does some donuts with some obviously CG smoke happening because they didn't want to wreck it or whatever.
Yeah. It's a rental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Tex
like that
meets him
car in
outside.
Birdemic, you know, the Mustang that's in like one scene.
Tex meets him outside and he hands over the keys to Tex's new toy, which has fresh tires and a tune-up. Probably fix the chip in it.
Yeah. Gotta fix those chips.
Or
she's well equipped to fix computer parts on a fucking brand new car from his little dilapidated shop with no
LCD
internet.
Computer console. In the dumpster, we see Sarah Siren worming her way out of the garbage bag she's been stashed in. And we see her grab a lighter that Tex threw away the day before and some half-full gas cans that the kids left. By the way, in the light of the day, Sarah Siren is obviously a woman wearing a comically oversized head over her own head. I think even prior to this, you could clearly tell it was just a person wearing a mask with two different flesh tones and stuff. But then
it was a little harder in the dark, but in this scene, it's like, obviously that's a person.
Tex and Sausage make their way inside and are shocked that the janitor somehow managed to stay alive and made the place look brand new. For some reason, and I'm guessing this is where a healthy portion of the film's budget went, Leonard Skinner's Freebird starts to play. If it's unclear if it's on the jukebox or if it's part of the soundtrack or if the character's listening to it.
So somehow he's listening to it in his car and he turns it up later on, even though he's inside right now.
What's that term? Like non-diegetic sound or something? There's a term for it. It's like sound that the characters can't hear, but it's part of the soundtrack. And then there's also a term for...
I think you're talking about Scientology. Dietetics.
Dianetics. Don't sue us, Tom Cruise.
Allegedly.
We see the janitor take the tape bandage off his face and change back into his regular clothes. He makes his way to the front room to greet Tex and gives him a smirk. Tex hands over the keys for a job well done. He's a man of his word. And the janitor gives Sausage a healthy stare down. He then heads to his car where he spots Liv, who has finally walked all the way back from where the cop car was attacked by the turtle. They share another uncomfortably long stare into each other's eyes that seems to have conveyed, "Hey kid, I know you don't know me. I could be a murderer based on how easily I dispatch those animatronics. But hop in my car and let's start some sort of a life together somewhere." So she does. Janitor peels out and they head down the road while Tex and Sausage laugh and celebrate the fact that the monsters are finally gone. So I don't understand their motivation. Did they want the monsters there? Did they not want them so he could actually reopen?
They didn't want them, but apparently they weren't equipped to kill them.
Yeah, they didn't actually want them the whole time, even though they were feeding them sacrifices.
Yeah.
And seemed to be working in cahoots with them. They hop in Tex's Cadillac, but wouldn't you know it, Sarah Siren lights the car on fire, killing them and herself in the explosion. Somehow, we see the explosion in the janitor's glasses, even though he's miles away driving the opposite direction. He and Liv head down the road, and he tosses her a punch pop to help ease the trauma of losing all her friends and the only mother she's known since she lost her parents to be brutally murdered. I wanted her to be like, "God, this is terrible."
But instead she's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. I love this."
Yeah. He's indoctrinating her, bringing her into the life.
I'm thinking it's a home brew of some sort that he made himself.
It's from
based
the
on
chemists
the the chemist
from Mandy. It's all the acid.
Maybe that's what this is all
They
about.
had in
It's
the
like,
mason jar that the Cenobites are drinking.
you can actually, when she holds it, you can see that it's just a sticker on a blank can, rather than actually a can of soda.
Yeah, which I have drank beers that have that same sticker that are from like a local brewery or whatever. So
low budget.
It's obviously low budget, but it's believable if it was from some, local company.
Yeah.
Or it's his own home brew. And in true horror movie tradition, Tito the Turtle appears on the road for one last scare, but the janitor guns it, running him over and mercifully ending the town of Haynesville's animatronic nightmare in a really crappy CG animatronic breaking apart and falling down on the ground. The end.
He had to throw out one last "Ios mios" or whatever.
Adios míos.
Just gotta keep that stereotype going.